Welcome in. It's the Second Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and we are 18 holes away from crowning a United States Open champion, a leaderboard that's got a lot of potential first-time winners and somebody who could break the record for most time between major championship victories. Joining me to break it all down, Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
Yeah, there's some pretty wild storylines, boys, and I think that they all make sense strangely in their own way. It's certainly not what you expected coming into the week, with some of the heavy hitters playing some really good golf coming in. But boy, these guys at the top of the leaderboard have played ridiculously good golf.
Mark Immelman taking some much deserved time away from home. Mark, it's good to have you. Thanks for popping on.
Yeah, aloha, boys. Greetings from the edge of the world over here in Hawaii. Yeah, it's been cool. It's been a bit of a mind bender to me getting used to having the final group in a major championship finishing just before 2 p.m. I mean, it's crazy the time difference. But here we are. I mean, it's been exciting. And, as I've watched it, I couldn't help but think, because naturally I'm away from home and I'm on my phone and I'm on the TV whenever I can be between lessons. And my takeaway, or right off the top, is that this golf course, like Greg points out, is exactly what we expected. And this war of attrition is going to be entertaining tomorrow.
At this point, Greg, there are 4 golfers under par. We started the day with just 3, and those 3 have remained there. Still a scoring average that is playing more than 2.5 strokes over par, but clearly more receptive greens. The fairways, due to the rain they got overnight, a little more generous in terms of balls that are staying in the short grass.
Yes, and very little rain during the round today. So they got some heavy rain last night. Again, very little during play. Only about the last hour, which many of the contenders were off the golf course by then. So a little rain last night, not much. A moment of rain today, and we talk about it all the time. It's a lot different playing after rain than playing in the rain. And so a little bit of that fire was taken out of the golf course. It slowed the greens down just enough to make them a little less scary, if you will. It seemed a little more puttable. And if you were able to drive it in the fairway, then you could really attack.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Mark. Still plenty of missed putts and balls rolling, 4 feet by, but not that 6 and 7 feet of just that little extra wobble that we saw maybe the first couple of days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was the thing for me watching, because, as I'd pointed out earlier this week, the defense in this golf course was naturally the rough, but I feel like more than anything, the greens. And when they're fast rolling at 15-ish, when the ball gets on a slope, instead of like 3-4 feet beyond, you've got 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 10 feet beyond. And then you watch certain situations where I believe it might have been the 14th, where it was like some sort of fairway middle in the fairway and a back hole location up on this plateau. You miss it long and you're cooked. And so the professional will go in short and try and skip one up there. You saw guys almost flying the ball to the plateau, grabbing some check and spinning. And then, of course, just a few minutes ago, that wedge shot that Sam Burns hit, that pitch shot on 17. Gosh, that thing grabbed like it had teeth. So yeah, it definitely, not that the leaders have an advantage because they're playing the best, but after the rain, some of the fire has been removed from the course.
Yeah, the guys playing late with or at the lead or close to it, certainly putting on a great display of golf coming down the stretch. We will focus most of our attention on those golfers, but I want to give a quick Scottie Scheffler update here, because he did post a round of 70 today. That is the best round that he's put together this week, Greg, and it did look more Scheffler-esque. He hit the most fairways that he has hit all week. He hit the most greens that he has hit all week. And of course, that translates to the best rounds that he has shot all week, a 70. He is in a tie for 11th. He posted 4 over par.
I tell you, watching Scottie Scheffler play this tournament, and I use him because we watch him play every week, right? You see almost every shot he hits all year. Which is very rare, but he's one of those guys. Watching the way that he's playing this week, it just reminds me of how close these margins are. If he was 4 shots better, you feel like he's going to win tomorrow. And it's pretty easy to find the 4 shots right there. It's not even the times that you hit it in the ditch. One thing to say, well, if you don't hit it in the ditch left to 9, then you probably make par there. That's golf. But it's and so are the mistakes, like the 3 putt at 8 today. That's just a critical error. The putt at 14 is huge, and that's kind of the story of the week, right? You get a opportunity at 14, a decent look at 13, a 6-footer at 14. Those both go begging, then bogey 15. Right, then you get through 16, birdie 17, and 18 is just brutal. It's like these little moments throughout the rounds that just halt any momentum. I don't think there's been a single streak all week. He hasn't made 2 birdies in a row. I guess twice there's been 2 birdies without a bogey, but everything else, there's always momentum that's been halted at some point.
Yeah, he has not made 2 birdies in a row this week, but we have seen him run the gamut of emotion, Mark. Obviously not pleased with his play, particularly after the second round. Spent a lot of time with hat askew on the driving range, doing a lot of hand motions and trying to figure out what was wrong with his game. So we've seen a lot out of Scottie Scheffler this week, but more smiles on this Saturday round.
Yeah, clearly he and Randy eventually figured it out after we saw the tirade and the earful that Randy was getting there post round. But to me, again, and I'm flogging a dead horse here, but to me, I just once again watch a guy that just seems to be able to remain so present. Because I'll tell you this, I've been on the receiving end of professional rants after a round of golf or a tournament, and it's not fun. And more often than not, even though sometimes they're close to finding something, when margins get so fine like they are at this US Open, where you can hit a tee shot just slightly off and have nothing and have to wedge it back to the fairway, you don't just suddenly find it and then turn in the performance that he did ball striking wise or statistical improvements today. So it speaks to just the presence of mind for Scheffler and how he can put something behind him and then almost wake up the following day as if nothing happened the day before and come out the golf course and play with what you have and manage your way around. And I recognize the mistakes, but the reality is no one is immune to them. And I'll say this, after watching portions of his round today and seeing what he was doing, he may be 4 over. He's sitting in 11th or whatever he is right now. He'll be a part of the story tomorrow afternoon. He's going to make a few birdies and be close, and the guys in front are going to see the name coming, and that's going to add a little extra to whatever, because the way this golf course is playing out right now with a finish, especially 18, which is so daunting. 17, you can make a birdie, right? But when you're vying for a major championship and they're the leaders, all of them, I think, if memory serves me, have not won a major. That's a different deal. So it's no give birdie. You have to hit good shots and good putts. And then 16 is not easy. So if Scheffler can boast, who knows? And I'm sure after today, there's things are more buoyant in the Scottie Scheffler camp. And, if he gets some momentum tomorrow, somehow cobbles together, just gets into red numbers, all bets are off.
You're giving me the tinglies already, and he's going to get to go home and spend time with Sam Burns trying to win his first major championship. So that rental house is vibing this week. If Scottie Scheffler does get himself into the top 10, it will be his 6th top 10 finish in his last 7 major championships. That's what Scottie Scheffler has been up to in the last 2 years. We've got the round of the day, or at least one of them, coming from Carlos Ortiz, who put together a 3-under round of 67. It was bogey-free until that 18th hole where he puts a square on the scorecard. He flies up the leaderboard, now sitting in solo 5th. Mark, I'll give you first crack here. I've got his 2025 results up in front of me. He won an Asian event, an international series event in Macau earlier this year. He has not finished worse than 16th on Live Golf in his last 4 starts. He put together one of the best ball striking rounds that we've seen this week en route to that 67.
He's always been a bit of a ball striker to me. I remember him from his days on the PGA Tour. He's got that big wide action and is sneaky long. And because he's got such a big, wide arm swing, there's very little club face maneuvering, on the way down and through the golf ball. So ordinarily, he's pretty reliable. But look, if you had said to me prior to the event that Carlos Ortiz was going to be a few off the lead going into Sunday at the US Open, I might have laughed at you. But it just speaks to what golf is. I mean, golf is one of those things, especially in a tournament like this, where you know that no one's going to run and hide. So if you're just hanging around and lurking around par, kind of like he was, and you make a few birdies, you get some momentum, and all of a sudden there you are. And you almost felt that from the broadcast because, like, all of a sudden there was Carlos Ortiz on our screens, where the reality is he was just kind of lurking around the place and then found a way to make a few putts. So it's going to be a big day for him tomorrow. He's a proven winner. I mean, when he was dominant on the Corn Ferry Tour, won 3 times for that Battlefield promotion, got on the PGA Tour, was finding his way, a few big finishes, did battle some injury, and then, of course, the departure to live. So, look, I mean, his life could change tomorrow if he does something special.
That's mute, Rick.
Rick, you're on mute.
Bogey. Already, there's been a lot of bogeys this week. I fit right in. I haven't lost ground yet. Not only is he already in uncharted territory, Greg, because first of all, a win would be his first major championship win. But as long as he finishes inside the top 50, it'll be his best major championship finish of his career. He's really struggled at majors. He missed his last 4 cuts. He's missed 6 of his last 7. His best major championship finish was a T52 at the 2019 US Open at Pebble Beach. So this is definitely going to be the best result for him.
Yeah, by a mile. Yeah. I mean, that's unbelievable stuff, but it has been impressive. And it reminds me, like what Mark was saying, you just kind of lurk around and then all of a sudden, boom, you're right there in the mix. I mean, Carlos Ortiz has a chance to be like a runaway train. I mean, he made an 8 yesterday, right, on a par 5. So you take that triple away, and all of a sudden he's at he's in at even. So he'd be at 3 under, right there with the leaders. And you take away the mistake he made at 17 today, and all of a sudden, I mean, so the point is he's playing well enough to be the 54-hole leader in this tournament. That's how good he's been. He's led the field in greens and regulation. That's gone a long way for winners here at Oakmont in the past. And the one thing about today that I would say that's critical is maybe he got a little taste that he was really getting close and he could really put his name on this leaderboard if he got up and down at 17, which he had a very makeable putt at 17, and then makes par at 18. He's in great place, but kind of let 2 slide there on 17 and 18. But other than that, I mean, this performance has been spectacular. He missed the green at 2 and 3, didn't miss another green until 18, ended up hitting 15. It was a sweet performance.
Carlos Ortiz, 67, ties the round of the day with somebody we are going to talk about in just a few moments. Sitting in 1 under alone in 4th place, he's going to play with JJ Spaun in the final round, is Viktor Hovland. And while Carlos Ortiz emerged late in this championship, Viktor Hovland has been hovering around the top of this leaderboard all week long. His Saturday round was an iron approach display. He picked up 2.8 strokes on approach. He hit 14 greens in regulation. His proximity was best in the field for the second day this week at 22 feet, 4 inches. Struggled with some big misses off the tee, but Viktor Hovland's skill set certainly allows him to shine at setups like this.
Yeah, if you watch Viktor Hovland, well, I'm not sure which Viktor Hovland we're getting right now because I haven't heard post-round comments where he'll go, I'm still not swinging it very well and I'm not sure what I'm doing, and I won Valspar by accident or whatever he said, but I got to hand it to him because, look, the game, if you look at him, Viktor Hovland, sort of as he was, he's evolving before our eyes. He's kind of a USGA type player, won the US Amateur. He is ordinarily very accurate ball striking wise. And he's one of those guys that if he gets going, he can make low scores. We've seen that, like the victory at the BMW Championship en route to the FedEx Cup. But just the ball striking and sort of the manner about him, he feels like a US Open sort of player to me. And I would expect him tomorrow to sort of find a way, because he showed me something today. You know, it's a guy who's been working hard for the last couple of years, hasn't had his best stuff. Each week, you're unsure what you're going to find out of him. And now he's close to the lead, second to last group, or whatever it was. He comes out and almost hits one out of bounds on the first. Then makes a really good bogey and makes another one early. Now you're thinking, oh, gosh, this is going in one direction. But he dug in. He was resolute. He sort of did the right things. He ground his way around. He made some great saves. He couldn't sort of dodge the errant drive there on the 18th hole. But really, it was a gutsy performance. And to me, it sort of smacked of, you talk to like Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus, and they say oftentimes winning the US Open, you don't win, you just don't beat yourself. And that means you sort of grind stuff out and you find a way. He looked to me like he found a way to put together 70 today. And gosh, if he can continue that, there's not a lot of guys in front of him. You know, if he can shoot something in the 60s tomorrow, that may be enough.
He was a U.S. amateur champion. He was low-am at the 2019 U.S. Open, now with a chance to win the U.S. Open. Greg, how concerning are the bookend of big misses off the tee? On number one, he sprays it way right, has to take a drop in a muddy cart path in which he ends up making a bogey there. He sprays one way right on 17, hits the shot that might be the moment if he ends up winning this golf tournament, because he hits a seed to 2 feet 9 inches from 63 yards and taps that in for birdie. But then he sprays another one on 18 as well. I imagine as we speak, I don't have eyes on the driving range at Oakmont. I will bet a lot of money Victor Hovland is out there right now working on driver.
You know, it's a fascinating thing. Because he still hit 9 fairways. You know, he hit a lot of good drives. It's in there. And you mentioned that he hit 14 greens, Rick. So he missed the green at 1, didn't have a chance to knock it on there because of the bad. He had taken unplayable.
Right.
He missed the green at 3. That was the only one he missed from the fairway, and it went through the green. Right, he hit it right on line, and then he missed the green at 15, had to chip out. Missed the green at 18, had to chip out. That's it. Anytime he's in play, it is on the flag. I think that goes a long way. So that gives you, that kind of ability gives you a little more breathing room with errors off the tee. Because one, a chip out doesn't mean a bogey if you're flagging it the way he is. And we'll get to Sam Burns a little later. Similar situation. It also means you can make birdies. So you can afford a bogey here and there. Keep the doubles off the card. Everybody's going to make mistakes. And quite frankly, I don't care if you spray it into the rough or if it rolls through the fairway into the rough. It's kind of the same deal at Oakmont. So it's not overly concerning to me, Rick.
Rick, I want to add something to that real fast too. When Victor Hovland gets kind of ratty about his golf swing, and when he gets a little whiny, it's when he starts missing left. And even though these tee shots were wiped and they weren't very strong and they were wide rights, I didn't see all around, but I didn't see anything left. So it's in a crazy way. It's not like I'm trying to find the silver lining behind the cloud, but I'm with Greg. You know, if he's got that miss going one direction, at least he's got something he can aim. And so I'm sort of in the place where you got to stay in front of Vic if you want to win this thing.
Yes, moving in the shape that he likes to see, whether it's a little bit or a lot. Also, he hit the green on 1, but it didn't count as a green in regulation. Advanced it to the putting surface from the cart path, but that was his third shot. Victor's in at 1 under. Obviously, a win tomorrow would be his first major championship. We've got 3 guys left. We're going to start with Adam Scott, the other man who shot a 67, which was the round of the day. This would be Mark the affirmation major championship, right? Going from 1 to 2. it would be the longest stretch between major championship victories. Tiger Woods previously, it was 11 years between 08 and 19. It has been 12 years since Adam Scott has won the Masters. He looks like he's 25 with his ball speed, not 45. He is absolutely moving it out there.
He is. He's evergreen. And I can speak to the fact that he's working as hard as ever on the game. And there's this renewed excitement about the game that's driving him to work hard. And there's also the guy that has now, 96 major championship starts in a row. You win this thing, and all of a sudden you're guaranteed for the next few, and he'll become, look, he's a Hall of Fame human being. Yeah, you win tomorrow for Adam Scott, and you're a Hall of Famer in golf. So just the work he's put in, and having watched it up close, how much time he's spending and the energy he's putting into playing good golf is so exciting for me to see that the fruits of his labor are beginning to sort of be rewarded. Because oftentimes you can do hard work and you just don't get the dividends from it. But he's put stuff in and he's getting some stuff out. And today, gosh, you're right. It'll look glorious every single time he hit the thing, because the driver was on a string. The iron game, I love the fact that the ball was being controlled distance-wise. He always, when he bogeyed the first, after a beautiful drive, a poor approach to the left side of the green, and just a horrible first putt, I was like, oh, shucks, no. But then I turn around and here he is, and he's hanging around and picks up the odd birdie, and then sort of just plays solid, and then the fast finish. It was a really quality major championship round, and it's making me smile inside, because this is the guy that I want to win the tournament, because he'll become the guy that we all know he is. I mean, when he was a young golfer, we knew he was going to be a superstar. And then he hasn't really won big events as much as what he should. He's won a lot of events, but it's the big stuff. So tomorrow could be an incredible day.
Yeah, 14 wins on the PGA Tour, the one major championship, obviously the Masters there in 13. And Greg, I liked the way that Mark pointed out how this round played itself out. It was the bogey on 1, he gets it back on 4. And then really, the trio at the top, JJ Spaun, Sam Burns, Adam Scott, we fell into this par train. It was just everybody was rattling off 9 or 10 pars in a row. And it's like, I know par is good, but I'm just, we're getting lulled into pars here. And then Adam Scott, which we've seen be so difficult this week with how long and grueling these rounds are, puts the foot on the pedal, something that we haven't really seen a lot of guys do coming in. Birdies 13, 14, and 17 to secure his spot in the final group.
So 13 was it doesn't look like an easy hole location, but apparently it was, because everybody was just going right at it. It's like half a step off the left edge of the green.
Yeah, and they even overlaid the average proximity on it. And even half of that circle was in the bunker. So I don't know how so many guys were hitting it close.
Oh, my God. They just flat. I mean, I can't tell you how many guys landed at left of that flag on the green. It's like there's not room. There's no room in there. Don't aim there. But that's what they do. So he stuffs it in there. One of the better iron swings of the day. And then at 14 gives himself a wedge that he almost makes. Just beautiful. So, he takes advantage of these opportunities. And you have a situation like this was the one I really liked. The bunker shot at 15. Like, you just put your foot on the accelerator. You drive it into the rough, draw a good lie, hit it in the bunker. It's like, okay, here we go. This is what Oakmont does. It just doesn't let you build any momentum. And he gets it up and down, hits it inside a foot. I guess it was 2 feet. But that was huge. Then he's able to go on and make birdie at 17. I could watch Adam Scott hit bunker shots all day long. I could watch him hit drivers all day long.
I can watch him hit everything all day long, right?
Oh my God.
I could watch him sit in front of his TV and watch Netflix all day long.
All right.
Sip red wine all day long. I don't care.
It's just fun to watch. And to Mark's point, this career deserves more than one major, but it kind of felt done. It didn't feel like that was going to happen in today's day and age. Even though he got in contention at Riviera, definitely at Memorial in the past couple of years. Just didn't feel like it was going to happen in a major, and it's really cool. He's in the final group.
Yeah,
it's pretty
Rick,
cool.
One more thing. I love how Greg puts it. We thought the career was done. A lot of folks did, and I'll tell you when I sort of got the inkling that hold on, this is not done yet. When my brother was the captain, Trevor was the captain for the President's Cup international team for Charlotte. It was a brand new squad that they were sort of piecing together. And you had to have some experience on there. And the most experienced guy was Adam Scott. And Scottie went to Trev and he said, I promise you, you will not have to use a pick on me. I'm going to earn my way onto this team. And he really wasn't playing that well when he made that promise. So there's a resolve there. And that was kind of, to me, the watershed or the turning point, the inflection when Adam sort of started going in the right direction. And he earned his way on the team. There was a strong man there. He led Cam Davis around the place. And I looked at a guy that sort of changed who he was. And since then, he's just been so consistent. And like I say, that drive down 18, because at Quail Hollow 2 years ago, I had his group in the final round, and he's hitting it a long way. And I looked at him. I'm like, are you for real? And he goes, yeah. And then he hits one down 15, the par 5 that was laced. I mean, it was like 340 down there. And I sort of turned around. I sort of gave him like, right, big dog kind of thing. And he joked at me. He goes, yeah, I ate my Wheaties this morning. But this was a guy that got in the gym. He started working on the golf swing. And you could see that he had intent. And it was showing up today. And I just hope he can close it tomorrow. I really do.
Feels a lot like the Dustin Johnson career, where I'm like, how does this guy only have one major championship and then he gets the 2020 Masters? He needs this one. Doesn't need it, but he should have it. He deserves it. Adam Scott is in the final group. He'll play alongside Sam Burns. We'll get to him in just 1 second. It'll be Viktor Hovland and JJ Spaun, and this was a just vintage U.S. Open, keep the ball in front of you type of round, Greg. JJ Spaun, it was fairways, it was greens, 9 fairways, 15 greens. It was a birdie on 1, a bogey on 3, a birdie on 4, and then he rattled off 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pars in a row before alternating birdies and bogey, a birdie and a bogey on 17 and 18. JJ Spaun has not blinked this week.
Only player to make birdie at number 1 today in the last group, which was pretty cool. Not the only player to make birdie at number 5 or 17, but it felt like it was really hard for him to get in trouble because of what he did off the tee. This was like your dad's U.S. Open kind of a driving performance, right? You got to hit it in the fairway, like we always say, and he did. He just kept striping it down there. Right into position. And then he was very conservative with his approach shots, right? Not a lot of, I don't think they were terrible swings. It didn't look like he was loving them in the air. He wasn't like looking up and down flag sticks all day the way Viktor Hovland seems to be. But he also wasn't short-siding himself. He wasn't leaving himself with brutal downhill putts. And he lag putted beautifully. This was your dad's U.S. Open kind of a round.
Remember, Mark, that JJ Spaun was your 18-hole leader, a 4 under 66 that was bogey-free around Oakmont. He had the long wait until the afternoon on Friday where he shot a 72, still 2.5 shots better than the field average. And then this 69 on Saturday. JJ Spaun is the one guy who has been in the heat of this championship for its absolute entirety.
Yeah, it's crazy. A couple of things jumped to mind for me. And the first off, as I said, we've been in and out and stuff to do and golf lessons to give and then some beach time. And you'd watch a little golf and I'd be like, Spawn's winning this thing. And then I'd be like, no, Sam Burns is winning. And then I'd turn around, no, Adam Scott's going to win and Vic. And sort of there's this roller coaster of emotions where you don't know who's going to do it. But as I watched JJ play, and Greg said so, He's missed shots, but he hasn't missed ghastly. And if anyone of the leaders has that US Open sort of a mentality, it seems like Spaun to me. It's a guy who's beaten injury and illness. He's been a journeyman on the PGA Tour, and all of a sudden here, he's this lightning rod that you still don't talk about, but you look at the leaderboard and there's JJ Spaun's name. And I'm going to borrow some insight from the golf pundit that is my wife, Tracy Martin. We were watching TV and she goes, JJ Spaun's winning. And I smile. I'm like, why? She goes, because of what he did at the Players' Championship. Where you've got a brutal golf course. You're in the final group. You have a putt to win that should have gone in all honesty. And he just, he was brave there. And he's been brave every time he's been in contention. And today's round was brave. I mean, yes, it's the bogey on 18, but he's right there. He played US Open style golf. And I have to believe, I know I've been high on Scottie, but I have to believe that experience against McIlroy in the playoff and what he did at the Players' Championship for 4 rounds. Because remember, he was around the lead there the entire time. I think it was in the final group twice on the weekend. That does stuff for people. And it builds that sense of conviction and belief. And he looks very comfortable there. He really does. So bravo, JJ. It could be a big day, but we'll see.
But real quick, Mark, it's something we talked about the last couple nights as well, that it's not, I can't believe I'm here in the US Open. Because of the players, it's like, I get to do this again. Right. And now all of a sudden you're not free. You know what to do. You've practiced what to do. You've talked with your coaches on what do you do in this situation. And now you're in the situation and you get to put it to use. So it's a huge factor in my opinion.
Well, Rick, maybe we should do this because Mina's the superstar behind the glass, right? Maybe you should replace me with Tracy because she's the brains behind this operation.
Yeah, we could make a couple swaps, Mina and Tracy, and we could improve this Second Cut podcast by about 1,000,000%. So we'll keep that in mind. JJ Spaun's best major championship finish, 23rd at the 2022 Masters. So we've got Carlos Ortiz looking for his first major championship victory, Victor Hovland, JJ Spaun. But they all chase Sam Burns, who will also be looking for that breakthrough victory. Greg, I'm going to go to you first on this because last night we looked at Sam Burns' body of work this week, and we were like, yeah, he's objectively played the best golf around Oakmont. He is still in the lead. He's going to head to the final round with a 1-stroke lead. Do you still feel the way you felt about Sam Burns from last night?
Yes. Now, some other players have joined the mix. Like Ortiz has been great. Adam Scott has been great. These other guys, JJ has been great in their own way. I still think that Sam Burns has been the best. Looking past the numbers, I know Mark's going to say that, of course, he's been the best. He's winning the tournament. But I and I understand that. But I think he's actually... I don't think he's just scoring the best. I think he's playing the best. Now, the fascinating thing is he had to chip out 4 times today, and he got up and down, saved par 3 of them. Right? That's the kind of thing with Victor Hovland. Like, you want to say, well, tomorrow, what's he going to have to do? Well, he's going to have to hit it in the fairway. Well, not really, because you can make a bunch of birdies. He's got because he's striping his irons the way he is, he's capable of making a bunch of birdies. And if he misses a fairway and has to chip out, he's shown the discipline and it's given himself an opportunity to save par, which he's done 3 out of 4. He did 3 out of 4 times today. I mean, that's like, again, that's what happened in your dad's US Open. It's old school US Open pars. We haven't seen that in a long time in modern US Opens.
The driver, at least in terms of driving distance, has been a weapon this week. Mark, he has led the field in strokes gained approach. He's picked up more than 3 strokes on approach in each of the last 2 days. That's disgusting. He's been splendid around the greens. He's been getting up and down much more frequently than his peers. And oh, by the way, he is statistically the best putter on the PGA Tour this year, and that has shown up this week. So Sam Burns really is firing on all cylinders here.
I know I'm going to sound like a bit of a, homer when I go, well, I've made a good case for every single one on the leaderboard. But Sam Burns, after the good play in Canada last week, he's coming in here with some form. And as you look at Oakmont and the challenge it was presenting, there were plenty of casualties just because of the golf course. And then you look at the place, you're like, well, you've got to drive it well. And there's big greens where you've got to get the ball the right distance, but greens in irregulation almost becomes like a moot point because the targets are so big in spots. So you've got to be able to putt. And if Sam Burns has a strength, it's the two straightest face clubs in the bag. The putter is number one and the driver is number two. He's plenty long, as you point out. And because I was just in front of his group last week in Canada, and every time I turned around, this guy was splitting fairways. So you got the sense then that maybe he'd be a good pick for this week. But he's shown up mentally for me too, where he's done everything correct. And he's got what looks like the bit between his teeth. There's a lot of resolve about what he's doing here. You can see, because it's one thing to show up with good form, but it's another thing in a big tournament like this to parlay that form into a spot atop the leaderboard after 54 holes. So as far as I'm concerned, it's his to lose. There's some guys over there that are just around him that could have a big say-so. But if Sam Burns does what Sam Burns has been doing, he's going to be a really tough out because of the way he putts it. And he's proved himself. He's a winner, and it's his time now. And maybe the time in the household with Scheffler, because look, he knows Scottie's not going away, and so he's going to have to bring his best stuff. But maybe when you're around Scheffler, that stuff kind of wears off on you, and you look at Scheffler and you go, in college, you and I were kind of the same person, but I was better than you. So I'm really the same golfer. You've just had the big time so far, and it's time for me to make my mark. Well, it's time for Sam Burns to make the mark now. And if there's anyone who looks as complete as anybody, I would say it's Burns.
I believe it was Cara who asked Scottie, did Sam Burns ask for any advice? And Scottie said, nope, Sam knows exactly what to do. He's proven that so far this week. Here is where we stand with 18 to play at our national championship. Sam Burns is 4 under par. He is the favorite to win at plus 170. Adam Scott and JJ Spaun both in at 3 under, and they have very, very similar odds. Adam Scott plus 320, JJ Spaun plus 330. Victor Hovland, who spells his name with a K, is at 6.5 to 1. Everybody else is 20 to 1 or longer. Looks like a 4-horse race to me, Gregors.
It really does. It really does. So the question is now, what's the winning score? And now, last night we talked about, I thought it was 4 at the beginning of the week, and it looked like a real stretch yesterday. It doesn't look like a stretch anymore. But could you see, for the sake of, who's going to win this thing, how far back is too far back? Is this a 4-horse race? Could you see Sam Burns, Adam Scott, JJ Spaun shooting 72? Yeah, you could play pretty good golf and shoot 72. So now if the lead's at 2 under, could you see Tristan Lawrence or Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson shooting 66? It feels like a stretch to go win the U.S. Open. So these guys played great today. I think they cut a lot of the field. I think they cut a lot of guys' chances. I'm feeling a 4-horse race.
The math starts to get very difficult for the golfers over par mark, unless it is go out and shoot the round of the day and hope you get some help from one or maybe 2 of those guys up top. We'll see how much fire is in Oakmont on Sunday, but listen, Sam Burns hasn't blinked. JJ Spaun hasn't blinked. Adam Scott's getting better as the week goes on. Like it's stout up there.
Okay, I don't know this for sure, but I'm reading the tea leaves because I'm taking the opposite tack to Greg. I feel like it's open. I feel like there's some guys like Scheffler and better that can do something tomorrow. And the reason why I say so is that the whole week and the lead up to the event, you've heard about Oakmont being the hardest golf course on the planet. And the membership are very proud of that. And it's now an anchor site for the US Open. So that means the USGA play ball. And that means tomorrow they're going to set that thing up. Yes, it may not be as firm and fast as what it was earlier in the week, which made certain holes almost unplayable. But they're going to have some hole locations. They're going to be hair raising over there. So I'm not necessarily seeing disaster. I would hope not, with big doubles and triples. That stuff early in the week to me was more a function of the firmness of the golf course. But with some strange hole locations tomorrow, some tough ones, you miss a few of those in the wrong spot. You make a few soft bogeys, and all of a sudden, if you're someone under, next thing you even par very quickly. And then that gives life to the chase pack. So I think 4 wins outright. I have a sense there may be a playoff around that 3-2-ish number. And that makes it like someone for a Scheffler who goes out and does the right thing and shoots something in the 60s, make your presence felt, then you don't know. So as much as what this event has proved to me that I don't know very much about golf, because some of my bets were ridiculous, and I've lost a bottle of wine to Greg over there. Mm-hmm. We're going to see more of the same, where it's Oakmont, it's hard, your resume doesn't amount to a hill of beans around this place. You got to play well. And I just know the test will be complete tomorrow. So I think 4 wins outright. But I do feel like there's a couple guys who get under par, and it's closer than you think. And then I don't know if Sam does a Scottie and sort of opens up the lead again. But I feel like it's going to be tight coming down the stretch.
I agree that I think it's going to be, I think the setup is going to be very hard tomorrow. We'll see, if Mother Nature cooperates, but I think the setup is going to be very difficult tomorrow. Greg, you get last word if you want it.
There's just not, like, the chase pack is thin. The group of Scottie and Leishman and Goddard, like all the 4 unders, they're tied 11th. There's only, or the guys that are not in the 4-horse race, quote unquote, is Ortiz, Hatton, Lawrence. Rasmus Niergaard Peterson's at 2 over. McIntyre and Cam Young, aka Young Cam, are at 3 over. Like, it thins out quick. So it's not that big of a chase pack. And I feel like 8 back on this golf course would be, I don't know, maybe the fact that it's so thin is good for the chase pack tomorrow.
Well, yeah, Greg, yeah. I was just listing Scottie in that group as 4. I don't think anyone else is making any noise.
Yeah.
Because Scottie is the proven major championship victor, and he is kind of the outlaster guy. He's not going to go away.
Right.
I do feel like, as you look at that board over there, one Tyrell Hatton is going to be a good option to look at, because he's just won over. He played beautifully today. He's the kind of guy that keeps himself in it because he kind of acts the fool, and it takes takes his mind off the game at times because of what he does. So I feel like people over par can post something. Scottie is my 4 under that I'm looking at just because he's Scottie Scheffler. That's the only reason.
I'll just say official pick for me, Sam Burns.
Yeah, that's a good pick, Rick. And real quick, it's not about the score. It's about the number of folks in front of you. Mm-hmm. And if I get out early and I'm playing before the leaders and I'm Tyrrell, and I make a couple birdies early and I'm 1 under, all of a sudden I'm like, gosh, there's only 3 guys ahead of me and I'm in the mix. And if I just stay doing what I'm doing, that's the thing. It's about the number of folks in front of you, not your score necessarily.
We are going to find out if there's a big shakeup coming, if there is a first-time major champion on our hands, or if the inevitable Scottie Scheffler does something else to add to the lore. We will find out, and we'll be back on Sunday night to chat about it all. For now, big thanks to producer Mina. She does all the hard work behind the scenes. Mark Immelman, aloha. Greg DuCharme, goodbye. I'm Rick Gehman. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.